so many options in this game. There's always a way to answer for a lack of something. People definitely get caught up in what the meta is, and there's more people that follow the meta, obviously, than there will be people that set the trends for the meta. So yeah, that's a very roundabout way to say I don't think you have to have any particular composition so long as you know what you're doing.
Very eloquently put. Nonetheless, we'll see here with the Sage if that proves to be the difference maker for Luminosity. Again, they're going to start on the attacking side. They have a 1-0 lead over TSM, and it looks like this pistol is going to be a slow one. Moose going to use the drone towards B long. Maybe, draw a little bit of attention, a little ruckus. But again, TSM, much like we saw on Ascent, given the eye candy, given what's put in front of them, they stay home.
Yeah, and the drone there to be long is actually, there's a lot of good reasons for doing that. We'll go into that more maybe if we get a moment later, as we do have the push coming through from Luminosity. The full A send it is coming, and you can see that the bomb site's been largely evacuated. There's that wall that's going to be, of course, so important in controlling space and giving some breathing room for this spike to be planted, which it will be. And here is this post-plant setup all ready to go here for Luminosity. So it's all going according to plan. It's now just about executing the defense. We can see Sabrosa's working on the flank for TSM as well.
Yes, there is going to be that turret there. Should spot him out, and it's going to pull some of it back. The LG playing far more up than we usually see attacking teams on a post plan here. TSM seem to be taking care of it just fine. As Wardell dashes back just down to 13 health. Moose is there. The turret's gone. Sabrosa's on the pinch. Luminosity could be in trouble here, but it's just Sabrosa that's left. In a 1v3, certainly a winnable one as he gets his way onto one, but he's going to get sucker punched by Moose as he drops. Luminosity take the pistol.
Yeah, great. And this is it, right? Great start from Luminosity. All went according to plan. We talked about the drone there towards B. They could have just gone for the full, A hit. They could have just done that, but they delay it a little bit. They want to, work out if TSM is doing something crazy at the rush timings of the round. And the drone there also, if it doesn't spot anything at B long, there will be a player on B that's going to hear the drone. And then that's something that the TSM will have to then clear that space. They need to know if Luminosity is going there or not. So that small delay in the start creates question marks. Otherwise, what they have to do is have players on those positions, which means that there's not players elsewhere for the defenders to defend, the A push proper or to push mid or anything like that. So there's a lot of things that get eliminated by just having that drone moving up B long. So there's a lot to explain there, so I don't know if I really covered it all that well, but we have TSM now looking to gain some information there with that small push A main. And Luminosity, again, I don't think they care about that at this point. Look how they're going to be able to set up here and just play back after they get the spike planted. They can play behind obviously the wall will create a lot of extra fortification for them too, and they're looking good.
Thief. Yep. Thief on the side takes care of one. Wardell trades him out. But Luminosity have gotten onto the site. They have a great wall up. The spike is down as well, and now they can assume their post plants. And unlike last round, and although it worked out just fine, Oproto's still holding down the middle of the map. No shenanigans from Sabrosa or anyone else playing across the flank. Luminosity look good here in their post plants.
Yeah, they really do. And this is, again, one of the reasons why it can be an attacker-sided scenario, because can have a lot of fights by design, and you see that you can get a couple kills in front here, but the firepower, the utility advantage for Luminosity is going to secure this one. And you might see, some more complicated takes where a round might finish like this, but, more complex, early and mid rounds as we go into the full buy here. But I feel like Luminosity are going to be so comfortable when they actually get set up for these post plants. And I think for TSM, the game is going to be, if they don't feel confident enough in their retakes, and they do, of course, have killjoys. It is helpful when you do have the ultimates available for those retakes. It's going to be a question of, do we try to actually fight for the sites, or do we play retake? And right. I feel like fighting for space might be more important against Luminosity in certain cases.
Yeah, especially with how much space they're probably about to take away. You see Thief with the Bucky. That often means fireworks are likely to ensue. Wardell going in aggressive. It's actually Ray with the Spectre who gets one. The gun's going to get upgraded. No Bucky frags, which I'm personally a bit upset about, but that's all right. Luminosity get onto the site. Thief goes in aggressive. Haze takes care of him. The Luminosity in a decent spot where they should be able to get the spike down.
Got those anti-spike plant shock darts coming through. Really well played from Haze. He actually slowed down the effort for the spike plant quite dramatically. And there comes the paint shells. That's going to take down Stella, planting the spike. So TSM doing a really good job in slowing it down and starting to create a situation where the fight is on their terms. They go for the retake. The paranoia creates an opportunity to gain some extra position onto the site here, looking for that retake to really start to come out to fruition. Proto, of course, with the Sheriff causing problems, but now down to your boy Dre with the Spectre and the spike defuse. The pressure's coming in, and the spray is there on the dark cover. He's 8 bullets left. All the bullets are gone. Just out of time is your boy Dre. It was a good effort, but it's even better for TSM. So much went into that retake, dog. So much.
Dude, he almost had that. For the clip to run dry at that moment, he had he was there, right? He had it just for the narrowest of margins. Going the other way, TSM sneaks that defuse in the smokes. Freaking A, what a round, man.
Yeah, and you have to, like, it started with Hayes staying on the site. So they got the info because Wardell played aggressively, which we kind of, we were talking about that TSM should need to do things like that. And then Hayes slowed it down enough that they could get all the timings. The shock darts came in, delayed the plant even longer. Then Raze had the nade available and was in position to then kill the planter. And then they got the paranoia to gain more space. It was just really a beautiful retake from TSM. Everything went right. And Luminosity will switch things up here in the next round. Oh, this is very scary.
It is. Beef was the tip of the spear using the bot, create some space, and then after a couple of moments pass, he's the first one to get the kill. Cutler from a great spot, though, with the Guardian. 1, 2 bullets, 2 kills as he continues to look for more. He's going to get paranoia there, though he has to back up. Great use of the dart to try to give him a bit of visibility, but he's going to drop. A Proto takes care of Wardell as well. It's going to drop into a 1v1 Killjoy on Killjoy. A Proto versus Hazed, as a Proto sticks around B. Hayes, at this point, Dan, I think Hayes just kind of has to wait, really, right? Like, see where the spikes goes down and then make a play.
Yes, it's definitely about gambling here because there's so much time on the clock and there's not enough information to know precisely what a Proto is doing that, you know, you play the gamble here. And unfortunately, the gamble is not going to work out here for Hazed. You'll have to run all the way around. And this is a problem because there's so much time here for post-plant positioning. This is a very, very tricky position for Hayes. Definitely at a huge disadvantage. A Proto could be absolutely anywhere. Has the turret to play off of as well.
Oh boy.
So Hayes has to hit an incredible reaction shot. Oh my god! That should not have happened. There's no way a Proto ever misses shots like that. But this one instance, Hayes has a chance and he steals it away. And TSM, they needed that. And they're gonna get it 2-2. And you gotta give it to Cutler as well. Those shots with that like right around yellow was so stunning.
And Dan, you spoke that thing into existence, man. Like, you crafted that. He's gonna have to hit some insane reaction shot. Bam, delivered. It was beautiful, very well played by TSM. And as you said, Cutler with the Guardian just going bonkers there. Almost got the third too. Just comes up a bit short. But this should be a really interesting round, right? Like, look for Luminosity. They're going to have mixed buys. TSM's going to have mixed buys as well. But Ultimates online, TSM has 3. Luminosity is all of it at their disposal.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. It's going to be difficult to deal with. And it's sometimes rounds like this are a question of, in terms of the ult economy, how do we, like, if the opponents decide to use a lot of ults to take a site, do you want to burn everything, or do you want to try to do it without the ults and just play more conservatively, as opposed to lose all of your ults and lose the round and then not have those to gain momentum back again? But we'll see what the options are here. As TSM, you've got Hayes on that headshot position, looking over the pipes and seeing what he can find. There goes the lockdown. We're going to get the counter lockdown coming from Hayes. And so those will basically cancel each other out. Luminosity can't really go all the way unless they decide to do this and destroy it with the Hunter's Fury. So that's a lot of investment there. And there goes also the showstopper, Luminosity exacting into the site. And it's going to be retake territory here for TSM.
And for Luminosity there, it's essentially like a second lockdown in that you have to respect it and that you have to back up and give up that space to the showstopper. Luminosity follow right behind it. They get onto the site, they get the spike down, and now TSM has to retake. They have a showstopper of their own and a From the Shadows, looking to see how they get back into this thing. How do they retake the site? They have full personnel as well. There's the showstopper. Hayes goes in first, takes care of Stellar. Nothing connecting on it, but Drone with the rifle gets one. Gets the second one as a Proto's gonna get caught. He drops as well. Luminosity the round falls apart as it's just down to Moose. He's in a great spot, but he's insanely outnumbered. Gets one, Drone's going to get the defuse. TSM take the lead.
Yeah, that's a huge retake again from TSM. We talked about it, you have to be on top of your retake game. And so far, you can see how well they're communicating together, how well drilled they are, how confident they are going into these retakes. And again, that situation where it's so many ults against each other and you're kind of trying to make sure that you're not just countering your opponent's ultimates, but you're getting more value as you, of course, you want to spend it and convert it into a round win. And that they managed that really effectively. And obviously they forced away the Hunter's Fury from Moose because they already invested in a Protoss lockdown. So Moose, made that good by using his Hunter's Fury, but now the ult advantage is going to swing more towards TSM, you could argue, for the retakes.
Yep.
Having that Hunter's Fury is huge in denying plants spike.
Oh man, that feels bad. If you're Thief. Sabrosa getting the shot through the smoke. A Proto in a great spot here too. We mentioned on the last map, Luminosity with Sheriffs in hand, and just how really debilitating they can be for anyone on the receiving end. We'll see what magic Luminosity have up their sleeves as Wardell's thinking he's safe, just holding down the middle, not wise to the fact that a Proto could be untying his shoes right now and he wouldn't know it.
Yes, the very good way of putting it. And indeed, oh my god, Proto could have done so much, but Wardell, he is going to ruin his day. Oh, that is beautiful. But still, Luminosity find ways to cause problems. And speaking of the From the Shadows, it's going to come to fruition, but has to be cancelled. Now, this is quite a scary situation because TSM were behind on the rotations, but now they have the rotation timing. The res coming in, though, could make the difference. As we'll see, that slow progression up B long now, they still have to, they have to pop spike. Time is the problem, and Hunter's Fury could deny this. There it is. They're trying to deny the plant. Oh, this is so scary right now. There's 13 seconds to go for the spike plant. It's going to come through. It's like Luminosity is safe after all.
The Hunter's Fury, the satchel, the blast, everything was being thrown his way. Manages to dance around it, and as you said, manages to get the spike down as well. TSM outnumbered here as they try to retake the site. Thief drops. Cutler with the Vandal takes care of him slowly, but surely tipping a bit more in TSM's favor. But the work is far from done as they still have 3 members and the clock to work against here. If you're TSM, and at this point, it just looks like they're going to punt.
Yeah, definitely trying to keep hold of that operator and keep that economy in shape. Oof. And again, it's worth reminding everybody this is for a qualification spot to Masters. So there's a lot on the line with this series, and I think both of these teams are so good, it would be crazy not to see one of them in the Masters. And obviously, there will be another chance for the team that loses this series. They will be playing against 100 Thieves. But then again, you're in the same scenario because again, it's a situation where it would be hard to see, whichever of these teams and 100 Thieves not making it to Masters. So really, really huge matches here today. A lot on the line.
Bloody criminal to even consider, right? One of those 3 teams is not going to be dancing in a couple of weeks. TSM, Luminosity trying to fight their way to avoiding 100 Thieves, first strike winners of being dealt that fate. Again, for Luminosity, we see that drone early on. If it's not the drone, it's the Roomba. But either way, Luminosity have shown consistency in making ruckus towards B long and then thinking twice about where they go.
And I like the pressure coming in here from TSM, providing a lot of resistance to the B long take. And that B long take is important because, you want to force back the defenders, even if you don't end up going to B. Right. You need to create that lack of information for the defense, so they feel like B is a possibility. Gives you as the attackers a lot more room to play, and they're going to go and use that wall to create a safe passage through to that east site, and it's going to be quite difficult here for TSM. But they do have players in position. They've got crossfires actually. So Luminosity, despite having some position, they have a lot to deal with still.
The position's great, but it's telegraphed, right? Once that wall went up, you saw members of TSM start to rotate. It's just hazed on A as everyone else has made their way over to B, but Luminosity so far seem to be handling it just fine as Dre and Stellar get one apiece. Stellar's going to get the spike down as well. It's just down to 1 remaining player for TSM. And, well, he's not going to be around for long. A flawless round for Luminosity as they take a 1-round lead.
Yeah, it was a really cool round actually to see. As you say, you have that telegraph play, and on top of that, TSM had position on B long because they won it earlier in the round. And ideally, Luminosity are looking to have forced the B long players back fully so they can have a split between mid and B long. So Luminosity weren't actually working with their ideal setup. They had to put more players towards mid. Ended up working out, but there were those crossfires between Yellow and Snowman, and there could be players kitchen. So there was a lot of problems, but Luminosity managing it super well, relying on their firepower, and it is delivering for them time and again. And we'll see some pressure from Luminosity in the early phases around A. And, the bluff has been called, though, I think, from TSM. I think they've realized that there's nothing behind the dark cover there on the A side of the map. So I think TSM are working out what's going on right now. You can see the rotation is starting to happen, starting to just leave one player on A and rotating the rest to B.
Very similar to the setup that we saw in the previous round, where the wall went up and Hayes was alone at A and eventually got caught. For Luminosity, I think the game here is how much utility can you draw out, right? Like, how much can you pull TSM around before deciding where you want to go?
Love the delay here as well coming through. Just really changing the pace, trying to see if TSM will act on paces of past rounds, and maybe you can catch an info play. That's what Thief is looking to do. Spots one by Yellow. So right now, it's very confusing here. This is really feeling very much like it could be A or B at this point for TSM. You can see Wardell rotating to B. So there seems to be more of an argument for this B play with that Yellow pressure from B long. And at the same time, the hit comes through to the A site. So there's problems all over the place here. Luminosity, though, are finding the entry to Spike is now down on the ground. It's got to be collected and planted properly because there's only 10 seconds left for a plant. And it's down to Moose. He's got to get it done by himself. And he's going to take down Wardell. 7 seconds left. He's got to get on the plant immediately. Cutler's playing the time. He'll get the frag, but there's the trade in the nick of time. And Luminosity, by the skin of their teeth, will pick up the round win.
Yeah, dude, that could have gone sideways very easily, and it was Cutler's heroics, right, that kept that on the knife's edge. We're like, dude, you got to get the spike down. You got to go. But again, his ability to delay that, his ability to just buy enough time, because the thing is, Luminosity, as we mentioned, invested so much towards B. There were duels, and yeah, they won the duels at B, but because they were invested over there, by the time they got to A, the play was almost over. The play was almost lost.
Definitely, and it's a really scary situation now for TSM because they have no money left. And earlier I was saying I feel like the attacking side of Luminosity will be really problematic for TSM, and I want to see 4 to 5 rounds from TSM to see this be competitive and see a good chance at the third map. And so far, it's looking like TSM could be on track for that. They are looking to fight here for B long once again. I like that they are not giving this for free. I think that would be a mistake, and it's going to pan out here very nicely. I mean, there's at least 1 kill. Still Sabrosa in a forward position, down to 7 HP. Still has some assistance here from Drone. The pressure is still on. At the same time, TSM have forward presence on the A site, so they have a good sense of what's happening, but there is a flank coming through Kitchen also at the same time. This is so scary. Sabrosa eventually goes down, but a Proto, he could be the X factor for Luminosity in this round.
Dude, a Proto's gonna blow it up. Man, he's got him pinched in. Drone's a sitting duck here. He's alone. Yeah, he has the showstopper, but he's going to have to go absolutely nuts to pull this thing off. You see them start to get closer and closer, freaking suffocating like a python around its prey. Drone there, Drone 1. Drone 2. He's already got 3 on the round, looking for the third, spots him. Pushes him back. TSM starting to rotate. They're starting to get their members over while Drone continues to buy time. Luminosity, the spike is down. And it's alone. Proto wins the duel. He's got to get the spike, but he's going to walk potentially right into the lap of a member of TSM. They're going to be pushing it from different fronts. Wardell's going to get pushed back. Proto has to go. He has to go now. He's going to try to get the spike down. Meanwhile, Hayes on the flank, right in the back, takes care of him. What a round by TSM.
Incredible hold there from Sabrosa. That was so patient. What a great position. And it's really interesting too, because you can see that Luminosity knew that he was somewhere on B long, but they didn't know where it was. So a Proto's there searching for him. A Proto's the one that, as you say, he's there to dismantle Sabrosa and then bring them into a situation, or sorry, a Drone, I should say, and bring them into a situation whereby they're good to go for the plant. They have the 3 versus 2. Everything's going to be fine. But they couldn't find him. And that's crazy. That really is crazy. This could be a tipping point now for TSM to work off of.
You asked, Dan, for 4 or 5 rounds to make this half competitive, to avoid the potential of a blowout, really, of a landslide. And that right there was like the first check on the checklist, right? Get that round, a big one, and really a close one that has impact on the confidence of players and how things pan out. So big round win for TSM, but that was just the first check. What else can they do? How else can they keep Luminosity back? They have 3 ultimates to work with. They have the lockdown. There's no Hunter's Fury on the side of TSM to cancel that out while they have one of their own.
I think this is a great read from TSM. We'll go into that in a moment, but because I think they anticipated that they would try to get that Luminosity would try to isolate the B long players, and then they could go through mid here. But look how ready TSM are for this. They knew this was coming. Yep. 2 quick kills from Sabrosa completely stifles the efforts up mid, and now it's down to the B long players to gain ground without that split possibility. It's a reset out from that mid spot for Luminosity.
30 seconds left.
And now it's down to, Thief here on the raise. He has a showstopper, so there is some potential to get some damage in with it, but you might want to save it from this position. Such a hard call. There comes the TP as well to help out by the yellow position for the post plant, but here comes the shock darts to deny that plant, and they might run out of time here. Plant comes through, has to come off of it again. Yeah. Moose is in so much trouble as he repositions, and now that's it. There's no more time.
Yeah, the round went sideways. It was Cutler, really, who was backed by Snowman, who really won TSM the round, right? It was that opening pick, which he used the drone to try to clear out B long, where both remaining players of Luminosity were, but it cut out just in the nick of time to where he wasn't able to see it. But peeking on that corner just the right time, he was able to get one, and then the shock darts that kept Moose dancing like he was walking around hot coals really didn't allow him to get that spike down. Cutler went nuts there for TSM.
Yeah, and it's just like Luminosity were trying to punish the fact that there's been this heavy B long presence, because if they go up mid and there's heavy B long presence, they get B for free. Right. But TSM read that was what was going to happen, and so they had a strong setup, knowing that the mid play with the wall would come through again. So TSM Galaxy Brain play in that last round to shut it down, and we got the lockdown here from a proto, but it feels like the winds are shifting right now in favor of TSM for sure.
I would have to agree with you wholeheartedly. There's the ping. They know exactly where that lockdown is. The Hunter's Fury is going to see the counter from Moose as he tries to take care of Cutler, and he does just that. Yeah, the lockdown went down, but so did Cutler, as Luminosity have the numbers advantage. Wardell's shot goes just a bit wide, and now there's going to be a counter lockdown. No Hunter's Fury to cause shenanigans this time around.
And this is looking a little bit scary now for Luminosity, because they can't really make good of the utility they invest in, and that's not going to result in a proto dying, but it is kind of annoying because he wants to kind of he wants to connect with the timing with his teammates, and so it's to slow things down a little bit. The wall comes through in mid. It is a fake. They're going to go back towards the A site. Sabrosa cancels the TP because he uses the TP for info, because they have to be either pushing B long right now when he TP'd, or they're going A. Now TSM know precisely what's happening. He's just hitting the shot, and there are some shots from Sabrosa knocking him down, and it's looking fantastic here for TSM. The winds indeed have shifted, and their ship is sailing all the way to safe harbor. This is looking great.
And Sabrosa's Sabrosa's ult, his from the shadows, as you said, Dan, gave everything away, right? Because at that point he has 2 options. If you see him coming down B long, stick it. You know where they are. You can try to delay and buy time for your team to rotate over, or you cancel it out if there's no one there, which is what he does. And they walk right into his lap, right? Almost gets a 4K. Beautifully played by TSM. You mentioned at the beginning of the round that the ties were shifting, and they have.
It's just great to see, because TSM are really showing some fantastic Valorant work here, and looking at this showstopper, that's definitely an ambitious move from Drome. He gets some information, and Luminosity in a spot like this, when there's been so much aggression, you'd expect them to slow things down a lot, and try to, because they have that utility advantage that TSM invested, a lot early on. So by slowing things down, Luminosity can, in theory, have a better hit on a site and more to work off of on a post-plant situation. So the drone clear comes through on B long. They see that there's nobody here. It's a setup around yellow. And they may just try to walk straight into this one.
May work. You see a Proto is going to work his way up towards kitchen. The Paranoia is going to come out towards B long, and it looks like it's just enough to get the orb for now. As Luminosity, they have that res, and they try to take B.
Placing alarm bot.
Slow and steady. You see TSM really, they want to play the retake here. They're trying to make sure that nobody goes down before that. A Proto in kitchen again is causing problems with his utility. This can be very, very problematic. Oh no, a Proto caught in the side, not expecting Sabrosa up the tube, and that's now TSM in a great position for this retake. 5 versus 4. There is a res available, of course. A Proto is not within a resable. Oh, hello. He's playing behind the wall. That was not expected, and that could make the difference here.
Can Luminosity down to 2 members left, but TSM's 2 members that remain are certainly very weak. Make this a 1v1.5 as it drops down to 1v1, and Moose goes nuts. He gets 3, wins the round for Luminosity as they tie up 6 at half.
What a sick half of Valorant action between these two top teams. TSM really coming back into this with a vengeance. We'll have to see if they can come to completion on the second half after this break and force it to a third.
Welcome back, dear friends. One half of Icebox in the books, another half to go. And while the score is 6-6, we might as well be starting at zeros across the board as we are, again, just one half away from determining if we're going to go play on Bind or if Luminosity is going to punch their ticket to Masters. Doug, Dan on the mic, TSM on the attack. Let's see what they can do.
Sitting in the dark smoke, they're just like huddling around the fire. TSM roasting some marshmallows, but it's enough of that. Now they start to move towards the A side here, trying to explode onto your boy Dre. Paranoia is pretty good, not finding the connections he wanted immediately. It's a little bit messy, but a Proto is just cleaning it up quite nicely, putting on a clinic with that classic. And the spike will go down on the A side. So TSM 2 versus 4 here. It's going to be tough, but it's a pistol. The ghosts are out, and the ghosts truly are out. And Proto is going to just delete Cutler, and there's not much left there. Poor timings for TSM, and that's Luminosity off to a good start.
Yeah, and this is like the pistol. I really wish I had, those telestrators that you can draw on, and it shows up on the screen with like the lines that you can break a play down. I'd love to have that right now, because so TSM took the middle of the map, right? Your boy Dre hit that Paranoia across the middle, and while the shots didn't all connect, he was able to get one, and that bought enough time for a Proto, who was playing down under the middle, to go under tube and really blow everything up. You see Dre was there. You look on the minimap, you see a Proto who was followed up by the Raze as well. TSM, they were just stuck there, right? They were sitting ducks, and they got picked apart. Very well played by Luminosity.
Yeah, definitely. It's almost, the pistol rounds are much more simple than other rounds, but there's definitely an art. It was always an art to the timings and the positions. And once again, in this dark cover in mid, this time it's, a Luminosity player. Moose is in there.
He's lonely.
Doesn't understand what all the fuss was about last round. Not much going on over there. And it's I like this from Luminosity, that they are somewhat active in mid here. They're not being overly passive. They're playing retake on B with the Killjoy utility, and they're more worried about losing A. It's gonna be harder to defend that, or sorry, to retake that compared with B as far as they're concerned in this round. So that's why they've set it up in this way. The wall there as well is really just crushing any potential movement forward, and there you go. It's just a simple defense there. TSM sort of found themselves being checkmated, and that's the 8-6. And now we get into the real Valorant as we pick up on this. There's a bonus round here for Luminosity and the buy for TSM. We talked about this before, Doug, as well. What does TSM expect? Do they expect Luminosity to just go for a rush because they know that they're going to carry these Spectres through, or are they going to expect a slower rounds? And what will they do to for either of those outcomes?
We've seen teams, and I've talked about this before. I'm actually really anxious to see how it plays out. So okay, keep an eye on that smoke in the middle of the map, the campfire, as we've dubbed it. Luminosity here on the bonus, right? With lighter weapons, they have Spectres and maybe a pistol. Oftentimes, you want to see teams with the less than ideal weaponry to play around smoke. What you're doing is you're eliminating the distance, right? The gap, the advantage that the rifle should have That's why you try to play uptight. That's why you see players like what Moose is doing right now. He's taking space away, trying to bridge the gap between him and a rifle. Now, Sub Rosa is obviously pretty wise to it. And he's got a good bit of distance. He's backing off as well. You even see every single member of TSM look at them on the cross. They all check the middle of the map to ensure nothing funny is happening.
Yeah, and this, as you say, the timing from Moose is really excellent too, because he's going to hear the steps, he's going to hear the rotation towards A. We can see on the mini-map that a Proto is just booking it to the A side. They know that it's going to be A at this point, thanks to Moose's positioning. And if he wants, he has a faster flank timing. We'll see TSM have a turret to deal with that, but ultimately it's about the info for Luminosity, and now they just have to hit the shots, and
30 seconds.
this is going to be tough. It's all going to be down to hitting their utility nicely. There goes the Paranoia, and there goes the burst. The Paranoia was actually going to land on Wardell, so they've actually managed to find a way in. There goes a nice follow-up with the shock dart from Moose. He's got position at the back side, and he's going to be able to take down Hayes, leaving it all down to Cutler. Beautiful from Moose. I don't even understand how he got so much done by himself there. Very well played.
And it started off with the shock dart, right? In the chaos of the initial kills, he was able to get one with the shock dart and then went in, cleaned things up as the rest of Luminosity did. They're going to take a 3-round lead. They get the defuse. Financially, they should be sitting beautifully, right? And for TSM, you start, okay, this might go a little funny. If this one goes funny and there's no like tricks up their sleeves, we're looking at a 6-10. The TSM's got to be careful here.
Yeah, certainly, and it is quite worrying because that round was really won all off of the bat of that positioning from Moose early on, finding that timing through mid, and so if Luminosity are going to be throwing in little cheeky positional plays like that, it might be difficult for the TSM to gain some traction here. As you say, it is just these sheriffs to begin with on this round, and TSM not expecting necessarily to win the round, but to get some damage, get a spy plant would be pretty nice. Stella asking some questions here up by the rafters. We'll spot one dropping by. They've got information of the push coming in now. The rotation is in as well for Luminosity for this defense. And there doesn't seem to be a way to breach the front lines here for TSM. They have to force the issue. It's going to be very difficult though, but Wardell with a shuffle right and shuffle left takes down your boy Dre. Knives come out, and maybe, Doug, that's the start of something here.
Yeah, that certainly might be what's needed to break the ice. Is TSM, they still haven't gotten the spike down, but you've got to be careful for a Proto on the flank. TSM full sense because they don't have the weaponry. They have to commit to the site. They do just that. Wardell gets another one, but there's nobody watching the flank. A Proto gets one, a Proto gets two. Moose gets in on it as well. And TSM, again, they're pinched. Man, they're like sitting ducks in there. They don't have any room to work with. Sabrosa with the Sheriff. Not good for any. A Proto gets 3. TSM 6-10.
Great flank, and that definitely stopped a bad situation from getting worse. It was definitely, they were definitely looking like they were about to lose the round there, Luminosity, but now, as you said, it's about TSM really making this round work. I think you kind of set it up nicely. It really is very much on this round, because if they aren't able to pull this one together, they're suddenly in a situation where they're very desperate and they don't have any margin for error. And so you kind of want to make it good here and just turn the tide here. So we'll see if they can do that. Wardell on the operator. They have everything that they could possibly want.
Okay.
And there you go. Starts off nicely. Taking down Stella towards that B-long position. Oh, Thief coming out with a rocket, and there is the dash away. Wardell, he's doing so much for the team at the moment. And Drone with a follow-up onto your boy Dre. So after all is said and done, the dust has settled. It's the 3v2 in favor of TSM. You will also have the lockdown available, but the Hunter's Fury is there in the hands of Cutler for TSM as well. Oh, look at the A site. It's completely clear as well.
Yep. And you see him start to check it, right? Like Sabrosa can stick it, knowing that it's been cleared out by Hayes. Luminosity, they're going to have to hightail it, but you've got to be careful. Cutler on the flank. He might be the one to blow it up. Luminosity pushing in from different fronts. You see a Proto's going to go across the middle of the map. That's a big pick early on to take care of Sabrosa, but if he doesn't check, that right. He's going to get taken out. Hayes goes big there. The rotation was very well played by TSM. They get onto A for free, and they take the round.
Yeah, great luck from Hayes with all of the action on B long, and it looked so much like a heavy B commit at the start of the round that I wasn't even looking at the minimap, and like I suddenly saw after all of the actions, like, wait a second, Hazed is basically in their spawn somehow. So that's definitely a solid way to end the rounds, and using the Omen teleport to just make sure that it's just guaranteed. And all right, so 7-10, we did say, you know, TSM, they really had to pick up the slack, and they're managing to do so quite nicely in that last round, giving themselves a good opportunity to you know, come back in this one and force it to a third map. Again, you missed it. Luminosity won the first map, Ascent, a map that they were not expected to win on paper, but they managed to do it. They're looking to qualify for Masters here, and TSM looking to dash their chances, at least for now, as they once again rely on this B-Long play. So same round as before, Hazed playing off of what happens towards B-Long over at Belt on A. The TSM have slowed the pace massively.
They have, and I think because Hazed has shown over there a couple of times, and obviously we saw the last round it got blown up because Hazed was left unchecked. A Proto has to stay, right? Like he doesn't have the luxury, even if TSM show a lot here on B, a Proto almost has to, out of respect for what Hazed could be doing, for what TSM could be doing. He kind of has to stay.
We get the fake, Doug. We get the fake. And it was a B stack actually initially for LG, but the fake's coming through. And are they going to buy this? They're still holding 2 players on the B site. This is kind of crazy. If Beef can get some value out of his position, Luminosity might cause huge problems for TSM.
And in a similar vein, Hazed could be problematic if left unchecked, but so far the fight's going down on the side, and Wardell is answering the call as he's already gotten 2. The Hunter Fury is going to come out from Cutler with 28 health left, tries to tag members of Luminosity, does take out Stellar. LG just down to 2. A Proto on the flank, up close to personal, gets 2, looking for the third with the classic, and he gets it, baby! Luminosity take the round away from TSM. What a round!
Oh, that hurts so badly for TSM. That didn't look like it made any sense at all from a Proto just walking through the smoke. And then not just that, but the fact that it comes down to a battle of classics where he's slower to draw his classic as he runs out of bullets, and he still wins the fight. That is horrifying. Absolutely horrifying if you're TSM. That looked like such a good round. It was a strong fake. Wardell opens it up with 2 entries on the B site, and that hero moment from a Proto completely destroys their chances. And now 11 rounds for Luminosity, and the money is surely in the bin for TSM, I think. We'll see if they can find a recovery. It's got to be now. And Sabrosa finds a timing up the tube. This has been a spot that has been given. And finally, TSM are able to find a way to exploit. And it's going to get caught, though. But with that frag from Wardell, there's definitely room to play with.
Oh, Wardell drops. The spike follows with it. Luminosity looking push the matter to get to map point, but Sabrosa has other thoughts. He takes care of 1, he drops, and Cutler left alone. He's not around for long. Luminosity get to match point, and so Dan, here's the thing, right? And if Veli's listening, Veli, this one here's for you. People, the reason Luminosity has been so much fun is because of players like a Proto, because of players like Thief, because of players like Stellar who do stuff like that, right? And the thing is, this roster's been doing stuff like that for months now. And Luminosity, for this roster, like, everything is starting to come together, and it's coming together at just the right time where they can pull off plays like that. TSM, I mean, that's a debilitating round loss.
It really is. It's one of those things that completely just deflates the team. We'll have to see if they can find something. If there's anything left in the tank here, but Luminosity looking really good. Great opener there from Wardell, though, with the Guardian able to tap down Stella, which is always going to be good, getting rid of Sage early on in the rounds. And in the meantime, TSM work their way up onto the A side. Obviously, this is where all the Killjoy utility is, so it is a little bit annoying because that will create some delay. A Proto from the back, from the rafters. The trade's good. And we'll see some space gained here, but again, it's so hard against Luminosity. They're always going to be good for the frags. Your boy Trey locks it in. Luminosity able to take down TSM, forcing them down to the lower bracket where they will meet 100 Thieves for another shake at a position in the Masters tournament. But for now, we can